Hello, everybody. This is your girl, Michelle, with Girls Talk Real Talk. Because when girls talk, just about anything can happen. Well, this evening on our show, we will have a conversation with Shanieta Bouyer and Lexi Jones. Listen in as they discuss their life, their business, their family, self care, legacy plans, and the challenges they have individually had to overcome as successful business owners. Also, be sure to subscribe to the Girls Talk YouTube channel. That's Girls with the Z Talk YouTube channel. Look for the stiletto with the heel in the shape of a microphone. So listen in as we have our conversation with both Shanieta Bouyer and Lexi Jones. Hello, everyone. This is your girl, Michelle, with Girls Talk Real Talk, because when girls talk, just about anything can happen. So I've got some ladies here in the studio with me today that I think you're going to really enjoy and get a lot of good information from. So I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves and allow you to get to know them a little bit better. So Shanieta, why don't we start with you?
Sure. What do you want to know? No, I'm Shanieta Bouyer of Bouyers and Associates, and I'm also a director with PHP Agency, People Helping People Agency.
Okay. And Lexi, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Lexi Jones, Lexi Jones LLC. I'm an international speaker, licensed financial coach, and
Okay, so I had you guys come in because this is our series on female CEOs and presidents. And I wanted people to get an opportunity to know what it is that you do. So if they're interested, they'll be able to get in contact with you for the services that you offer, as well as to get to know a little bit more about your company. But I also wanted to make sure that we were getting information for those individuals that's kind of on the fence. They want to start a business, they're not too sure about starting business. What is that going to look like for me? So we're going to get that part talked about too, but I also want them to get to know you individually. Because besides the roles that we play, we are individuals. We are women. And so I want them to get a chance to know you. So Shanieta, we're going to start with you.
Cool.
So how did you get started with the business?
Well, I've been in the financial services industry for about 7 years now, going on 8 this year. And I got involved in the financial services industry because I found the lack of financial literacy through generations. My grandmother, as I was telling you the story briefly, my grandmother had insurance on all her children, and she never had that conversation with me why that was important. She knew something obviously that I didn't know, but lo and behold, all of them passed away before her. She buried them all except one, and he suffers with a lot of health issues right now, almost 30 years worth of health issues. And when she passed away, there was not enough insurance for her. And I had to come out of my pocket as a single mom with 3 children. And I was devastated. I not only financially devastated, but I was devastated that, she just up and left my support system. So when your support system gone out, mind you, my mom passed away I was 18. She was 37. And so my grandmother taught me how to be a woman. And she taught me things about finances as far as a biblical standpoint, that your name is better than gold, pay your bills on time, keep your word. Keeping your word is a part of, an agreement with a credit card, agreement with, different entities, but just the character part first. The character, she addressed the character part, and that kind of rolled into the financial part. And so for me, afterwards, after coming out of my pocket, I sat and I scratched my head. And I said, now I know she loves me. And I know that, had she had more information, this kind of wouldn't have went this way. I just remember her kept changing beneficiaries as one left, and they all passed away from a horrible, death, all of them. I know that really broke her heart, And so, obviously, something about a parent knows something about their children. I don't know what it was. And she didn't have that conversation. So I was left not knowing. So I wanted to know more about the financial services industry, on top of the fact that I was always in sales. I loved sales, and I was just like, well, look, this has affected me, and there is no way I can be able to sell this.
I got you.
Lo and behold, I kept going.
I commend you on that because I know growing up for myself, we did not have that conversation. I knew my mom had insurance on all of us, but once we started working and started taking care of ourselves, then she let the insurance go and she kind of focused on herself. So when my Aunt Sophie passed away, then it was we all came together and sat down and she told us where everything was, who the beneficiaries are, all of that information so that we would have it in case anything happened to her. And that's what kind of got me to understand that although I have insurance through work, I need to have insurance outside of work as well. And I think the message that we send sometimes to our young people is that that's not important. We make clothes important, video games important, materialistic things important, but we do not make sure that they're taken care of financially. So, what are some of the conversations that you have with your clients when you are going to see them to get them to understand the importance of having these things in order?
Well, I asked them, what's your story? What's your legacy? What do you want that to be? Because this is going to paint a picture that is going to go and leave a legacy and a stamp in your family history and in your life. And if you want to leave here and it be said of you of this way, then these are the things that you should do. If you want it to be said of you that you took care of business, and not only that, that you're going to leave a generational mark, because what you do is going to then reflect on those who are in your environment, not even your necessary children, just anybody in your environment are going to pattern off of, the mindset that you had if you were a leader of your household. Most people who buy insurance, they're leaders in their home. They have somebody that they're leaving behind. And so I first start off with that. Like, what do you want it to be said of you? Are we going to have a GoFund for you? Are you going to keep your commitment with this? Because it's a long-term commitment.
Yes.
And then we're going to get into the numbers.
Okay. And I think that's important because on Facebook, how many times have we scrolled through our feed and found that somebody has passed away and now there's a GoFundMe, or we'll find out that a church has taken up a collection to pay for even the 4 young people that passed away recently, and how the churches came together to pay for their burial expenses because the families were not set up to cover that. And these are real situations. And we can't, when I was growing up, we would say that it was the older people that were passing away.
Of course.
Oh. Yeah. We can't say that no more because it's the older and the younger and the middle.
Yes.
So everybody, there's no way that you can say one generation is more apt to leave this earth than the next.
Right.
And so we have to make sure that we have everything in place to educate everybody.
Yeah. That's right.
I'm going to jump over to Lexi for a second, but I want you to think about, because I thought it was really interesting that the two of you were going to be here tonight. And the reason I say that is because I know that you are a financial coach. And I know a lot of the information that you give out leads to a lot of the work that you do.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started, Lexi. What brought you into becoming a financial coach? How did that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I always tell people, if you would have asked me maybe even 11, 12 years ago, if I would be in the financial services industry, I really would have laughed. Because here you have a person who is not a fan of numbers, wasn't a fan of numbers. I am now, I'll tell you about that. But I was not a fan of numbers. Coming up in high school, I was like, I'm looking at any major, anything that has nothing to do with where I have to take math or anything like that, right? So what led me to become part of the financial services industry was actually my own devastation with finance. So as we've talked about, right, like most of us don't really have a proper financial education in our homes.
Right.
And it's not because our parents are just, malicious and they just don't know what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the situation with my parents. They just didn't know what they didn't know. First of all, my parents are not from this country. And so then to come over and learn everything they need to learn and then learn about money, like who's going to teach them about money? Like that wasn't happening. So In about 2008, I lost everything. And it started with my ex-husband losing his job first. And then, so when that happened, it was cool because I'm like, okay, I was making great money, making really great money. And so we're like, okay, no problem. When you find a job, whatever, I can take care of things until then. Well, then a few months later, our job brought in new management. And when you're in directorship or management, they bring their own people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, I was gone. So now both of us are without jobs. And the thing is, we didn't have savings, we didn't have, investments, nothing, because we didn't know what we didn't know. You hear save for a rainy day and all that, but you don't really apply how important, it is.
Right.
And so we went through that. So as a result, we filed bankruptcy, lost the house, lost the cars, and then we got a divorce on top of it because, of course, as we know, money is the number one issue in marriages, or that can cause divorce in marriages. So then that happened. So now I'm a single mom with 3 small children trying to figure out where we gonna live, how we gonna eat, what are we gonna do, So I'm taking temp jobs here or there or whatever. But then, of course, people who know people, they connect you with someone, and they connected me with a licensed financial coach, and they taught me some very simple concepts, very simple, and I could not believe how simple it was, because when you talk to people, a lot of people in the financial services industry, they talk,
over your
way
head.
over your head, using language that, so you're just like, whatever, okay, whatever you say, but you don't truly understand what's going on. So this was the first time I had heard of a lot of these concepts, and the fact that it was so simple. Now, I'm a naturally and spiritually gifted teacher. So for me, it wasn't about, because I did not consider myself a salesperson. I don't do sales, But what I could get behind was the approach that I independent contract with, or the company that I independent contract with, was the approach. We teach. We teach. And then when you teach, and you educate people, well then, the rest is, you're gonna get sales. You're gonna get, because these are things that people need. These are things that a lot of people want. They just don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So that's how I ended up in the financial services industry.
Wow. It seems to be the thing. We get there because we've experienced the devastation. And now we want to be the master of our finances to ensure we don't get back there again.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a break here. This is your girl, Michelle, with Girls Talk Real Talk, because when girls and guys talk, information is disseminated. Have you been looking for a podcast that you can listen to weekly? Have you been looking for a podcast that both informs, enlightens, and educates its audience? Well, look no further. Listen in to the Girls Talk Real Talk podcast on Thursdays at 6 p.m. on all authorized podcast platforms, as well as our Girls Talk YouTube channel. So, what is the purpose of the Girls Talk Real Talk podcast? The Girls Talk Real Talk podcast is a platform in which we use to have those necessary and informed conversations that have the ability to positively affect its listening audience's decision making processes. It's also a space where voices are heard and people are encouraged. So listen in weekly to the Girls Talk Real Talk podcast on Thursdays at 6 o'clock p.m. with your host, Michelle P. Jones. We look forward to getting to know you and for you to get to know us. This is your girl, Michelle, back from our commercial break. Continue listening with our conversation with Shanieta Bouyer and Lexi Jones. When you are looking at the individuals that you're working with, when you have that initial conversation, what does that look like?
my first question is always, what's on your financial radar? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? And so there are some people who can tell you very specifically what it is that they're trying to do. And then there are a lot of people who can't. They've never thought about it before. They've never, what do you mean? What does that mean to become financially free and independent? Sounds good, but what does that mean to you, right? So for those who, may have some specifics of what they want to do, we talk about that. We talk about where they currently are. And then, we talk about, what the process might look like for them, getting them on track to financial freedom. But for those who have no idea, which is most people, the first thing is to help them establish some really clear goals. And part of that is, as you've mentioned, okay, your numbers. Where's your financial independence number? What is your income protection number? You don't know those things. Let me help you figure those things out. Because once you know what the goal is, now you can go back and say, okay, now, what are the things do I need to do to get there? But if you never have that ultimate goal, what am I trying to accomplish? What does financial freedom mean for me and my family? If you don't have those, overarching things in mind, you're just out there. I like to say it's like, trying to drive to California with no GPS.
Yeah,
no maps, no, and that's what's happening in people's financial lives. And I know you see it every day.
Absolutely.
People just out there driving their financial cars.
And don't know where they are.
Don't know where they're going.
Running out of gas.
It's running out of gas, Or they be like, well, I was going to California. I'm in Canada. I guess I'll just stay here. You know what I'm saying?
Never knew I was going to end up here.
Right. I'll just stay here.
We're just going to make the best out of the situation.
Right. Or you got people saying, I ain't got no map. I ain't got no nothing, so I ain't going to do nothing. I'm just going to stay stuck. I'm just going to be here.
Yeah.
Well, that's what a lot of us have seen our parents do. So, and I know, looking back over my life when I was growing up and I had a wonderful childhood, I was sitting down talking to my brother. We were sitting in his kitchen and we were talking, and he was telling me some things that happened when I was growing up, because he's like 6 years older than I am. So you knew about stuff before I did. And he was sharing some things that my mom and dad went through that, even though I was there, I was too young to really understand the whole concept of what was going on. And he spoke to the struggle. Yeah. And I think a lot of us fail to realize that we don't necessarily have to struggle. If we began the process now of setting ourselves up. Right. Because sometimes we set ourselves up for failure out of ignorance.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah.
But it's no excuse for us to be ignorant.
Yeah.
Because I know, Lexi, I met you through my niece, Latoya.
Yes.
And then me and you, Shanieta, met on Facebook. But with all of the information that's out there, no one should be operating in ignorance at this point. Because the information is there. The key to it is to tap into it.
Yes.
So as you're talking to your clients, and since we're in the month of March and we know this is Women's Month, is the majority of the women that you ladies are encountering as clients, or is it the females, or is it seems to be a balance between both females and males?
I'll let you answer.
Okay. Well, in my experience, I encounter females mostly. 2 reasons why. One, statistics and studies have shown that females are the purse string holders. 2 is because I intentionally target women.
Okay.
I do help males. So for all you males out there, I help males. I ain't got nothing against males. I love y'all. But I target women. I see more women than others.
Okay.
Balance for me, because I'm an alpha female, so I rather go after whoever is the head of household. you are the head of household and you are the man, you need to have this information. And sometimes I may have to go through the back door to the woman or the wife just to let me in, but ultimately it's whoever the breadwinner is. Now, I relate to a single mom. I'm a single mom with 3 children, so just the majority of the women that are on my team that I have appealed to and coach and mentor, they all are single mothers as well. So when you are the only breadwinner, it's like, it doesn't make a difference whether you're male or female. It's you are head of household. You need to have this information and pass it down to then your daughters and your sons, who will then be the head of household to their own, eventually household and children.
Okay. So I know right now there's this big thing on Facebook and on the internet about credit repair. If we learn how to be financially fiscal, responsible, then we would not need the credit repair, right?
True. But not only that, you got to understand that credit repair business is there because there's not regulations behind it.
Okay, yes.
If you had to do what we had to do to get the license, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which is why there's not as many distributors as they are credit repair specialists, so to speak, because the credentials don't have to be there. You just need to learn the Fair Credit Act law and understand that how they update it every month. And that's a personal thing. That's something that a person needs to know individually from themselves, because that law protects you as a consumer. Mm-hmm. So then companies are formed to help the consumer educate themselves on the rights that they do have and the rights that they don't have. Okay. Now, in our industry, you cannot do that as a sole individual. You can look up things and get information, but you cannot sell yourself a product. You can't go and pick out something and say, I'm at best knowledgeable about this. You have to go through the skill training and licensing to even know what would be best for you and your household if you were to just go online and try to a la carte benefits for yourself. When it comes down to credit repair, there's no regulations over it, so it gives everybody an opportunity to become an expert.
I don't want people to get the wrong idea to think that this is just a fly-by-night.
Right.
You ladies have done the work. You've got the certifications and the licensing to do the work that you do. Mm-hmm. And so you take this very seriously.
Absolutely.
And so what is, with the businesses that you have, what is your hope? What is your dream that when you're done with this, when you say, okay, I've done everything that I know to do, what type of legacy are you wanting to leave behind?
Oh, I got a mouthful.
Go ahead.
Give me a couple minutes later.
Go ahead.
All right. Oh, wow. So that's an excellent question. So my legacy is to have a school. I want to create a school for, and I just don't want to target African Americans, but I do want to target minority. Mm-hmm. I want to have a minority school that teaches financial literacy, arts, and entrepreneurship, leadership development. Those will be the core majors. And then I want to be able to fly coaches in, like Lexus and ET and all kind of different people with different industries, but they are the leader of their industries, and have them come in and challenge them and have them come in and give them vision towards what they want to do and what they want to be in life. So we need innovators. We need a new generation that are going to be entrepreneurs and leaders and be inventors with science and artificial intelligence. And they have to do that through the general studies, reading, math, arithmetic. And so that would be secondary, because what we're learning that these children in this generation, they are 82 million millennials.
Yes.
And so with those statistics about millennials, they learn different. Mm-hmm. We have outdated textbooks and ways of teaching these new minds. Yes. And God sped up
a whole lot.
Yes. And so he put it in my heart about this school, and I'm like, Lord, how am I going to do this? And so he's using this platform to be able to leave a legacy, to build this up, to, put principals and teachers and all these different innovative thinkers in this school and raise up a next generation so that they can take it to the next level of everything that God wants to do here on the earth through these individuals. What he already put in them. I went to a gifted and talented school. When I was growing up, I wanted to be an actress. So for me, that was lost in the sauce once I had a baby at 16.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, all my dreams and inspiration went right out the door, but it still stuck with me because those are things my grandmother spoke to me, my mom spoke to me. They said you wouldn't shut up talking since you know you could talk before you could walk. So there was a gift God put in me, and they were, you know, a lot of people try to silence it, you know, because it comes all out at the wrong time. And so I'm saying, look, if I could just impart myself, duplicate myself, and put it into this school, and then have multiple agencies all around the world where we are no longer confined to a 9-to-5 that was set up by Henry Ford in a different industry that no longer works for the working mom,
Right.
who has, you know, changed the roles, and the man is no longer the sole provider. The days have changed, and because of that, we need to have opportunities to where the mom has an opportunity to have a part-time income with residual income, not working income, because working income leaves children behind.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So my legacy would be to motivate women and men to go after their dreams, to raise up children from kindergarten to go after their dreams, to stick to it, to see it, to visualize it, to use the gifts that God gave us. They did not teach us to visualize in school. They did not teach us to have mindset and use the skills to develop our mindset. They didn't teach us those things.
Right.
And so I want to be able to implement that in school and take their imagination to the next level and create things in the world that we have not yet seen.
We're going to take a break here. This is your girl, Michelle, with Girls Talk Real Talk, because when girls and guys talk, information is disseminated. Have you purchased your copy of the internationally best-selling book, As for Me and My House? This book contains stories strategically designed to help entrepreneurial creatives jump into entrepreneurship. Be sure to pick up your copy today on Amazon.com. This is your girl, Michelle, back from our commercial break. Continue listening with our conversation with Shanieta Bouyer and Lexi Jones. So we're back, and Shanieta needed to run to meet with a client, busy woman.
Yeah.
So you got me and Lexi back now. So I wanted to talk the same question that I asked Shanieta before she left. I'm going to put to you. So what is your legacy?
Man, my legacy, I'm really excited about it. Let me say this, for any of you who are listening, you really need to put thought to that question and ask, you know, God to download that into you, because, you know, once you know the reason why you're here on this earth, like, you are unstoppable. Like, you are unstoppable.
You know what? I have to interrupt you right
Yes.
here, because I remember I was listening to you. You were doing a live on one of the business workshop things, and I had joined that group, and I was listening to your live, and it was actually one day that I was actually able to be on the live and not listen to it later. And you put forth a question, and you said in one word, describe your purpose.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
And I sat there, and I was like, does she know I'm a wordsmith? Man, I can come up with that in about 15 words. One word now, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
And so as I was sitting there, God just dropped into my spirit, you're an edifier.
Yes.
And I was like, well, I guess that covers it then.
That's it.
And so I put it in there, an edifier, and you read it, and you said, okay, Michelle, edifier. And we don't think about the purpose.
Yes.
We don't think about really discovering what our purpose is, and then walking that out.
Yes. And much like Shanieta said, of course, you know, in our schools, they're not interested in helping us figure that out, because our schools really are only built to, you know, train us to go to work.
Yes.
That's why they're there.
Yes.
So getting back to, you know, your question, what my legacy is. So my one word, my purpose on this earth is to transform. That's why I'm here. So now what that does, it helps me, okay, how do I want to do that? Right. And so that's then leads to, what is my legacy going to be? But my legacy is twofold. So my legacy really is to raise up an army of women. And for me, what that means is, and I have this thing that says 100 that help 100.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, I personally help coach, mentor 100 women to become their own financial services, own their own business in financial services, and they will turn around and each help 100.
Okay.
So when you talk about leaving a legacy, you know, this is not something people get scared, you know, kind of a little scared about it or whatever, but this is not something that you do all on your own. None of us can be successful or anything all on our own.
Right.
But if I can touch so many people who then are turning around and touching people, who then are turning around and touching people, who then are turning around and touching people, that's a huge legacy. Right. So that part of my legacy, raising up just an army of women in the financial services industry who understand, you know, how you take your purpose and how you leverage it within the financial services industry, so that we can see, you know, whatever changes that they were put on this earth to make, you know, make our earth a better place. And so that call for me is not only domestically here in the U.S., but it's also an international call for me. And I'm really have a burden, a serious burden on the international piece. As I mentioned, my parents aren't from this country, but then we have countries where women are still oppressed.
Yes, definitely.
And women who want to go into business, you know, if they want to get a storefront, they have to have an uncle or a husband or a father or somebody that will purchase that, you know, storefront for them or that land for them. So there are things that are still going on, you know, in a lot of countries. We've got our issues here too in the States as it relates to women, the pay, you know, gender pay gap and all of that. But I have an international burden. And so, you know, my vision and, you know, and my legacy is to also free women in other countries. Now, that's one side of it. But the legacy, the other side of it is just, you know, what Robert and I want to do just for our family. And, you know, obviously we want to change the family tree, you know, flip it on his head, you know, and we want to be the ones, you know, where they got our picture up on the fireplace saying, yeah, that's, you know, Auntie Lexi and, you know, Uncle Robert, and they changed it for our family, you know. So we want to leave a legacy in that way, you know. And when I say wealth, legacy of wealth, it includes money. It's not just about money. It includes money. And so there are a lot of things even within that that we want to do. Robert is a builder, and so there are things that we want to do in terms of helping people to live mortgage free, and you know, all kinds of things. So yeah.
Well, that's an awesome legacy. It really is an awesome legacy to begin to see that, as you said, that in my own words, that we are only as successful as the successors that we raise up.
That's right.
And so it is important for us not to just gain knowledge, but also to give that knowledge away.
Yes.
I believe in operating from the overflow.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people don't necessarily understand that concept, that it is as God is filling your cup up, it overflows. And so your people that are closest to you get fed first from the overflow. So you're never operating from an empty cup.
Right.
If somebody wanted to get into the field that you're in, what would they need to do?
So in the financial services industry, obviously there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can try to you can, you know, outright own your own financial services business, which is fine. It means you're, you know, getting all your licenses, paying all your startup fee, all your overhead, all your, you know, you're just responsible for
everything.
All of that. You are everything. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. But in another way to get into that industry is through independent contracting. And you can independent contract with a company that gives you the opportunity of ownership.
Okay.
So now as you begin, you don't have to be worried about overhead and marketing and advertising and office space and, all of these things, because the company you contract with provides all of that. You can solely be focused on, just building your business, hiring people, getting clients, all of those things. And then when you get to a certain point, a certain level of income, then the company, not very many companies that do that though, but the company then gives you ownership, and you own it. It's yours. And when you own something, you can do whatever you want with it. You can sell it, you can pass it down, you can, whatever you want with it. So the route that I chose was to do that, was to be an independent contractor, and then have ownership.
So you don't necessarily have to go the ownership route. You can stay as just an independent contractor up under the company, or you can just go towards ownership.
Yep. And yes. So, when you independent contract, at the end of the day, it's your business. So if you want a small business, you want a big business, medium size, whatever, it's up to you. You want to go for ownership, you can do that. If you don't, you just want to, be an independent contractor and you're good with that, you can do that.
Okay, so I know just from the things that we have talked about individually in some of the classes that I've had the blessing to sit up under that you do, you work a lot with individuals that are interested in going into their own business.
Yes.
So what does that look like?
Yes. So that has changed some, over the years. Initially, I worked with people just in general who wanted to go into service-based businesses. And so, I would just help them from, getting started, really, because there's a lot of, confusion around getting started, or a lot of overwhelm around getting started. So just helping people to find clarity, and what things they should truly be focused on as they're getting started, because we'll be told, get your website, get your business cards and all of that. And I'm like, it's not what you need to be focused on, at first. If you do that first, you're going to have to come back and do it again. I promise you.
Right.
You've been there, right? So initially started out doing that. But currently, my business coaching really is only in the financial services industry right now. And so that's what I'm doing. Anybody who wants to be a business owner, wants to do it in a very lucrative industry, such as the financial services industry, it's like the top 3. Then I coach for that particular.
Okay, so we're going to switch gears here a little bit, because you're also an international motivational speaker.
Yes.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that.
So, international transformational speaker.
Transformational.
Yes. And, so there's a difference, we will get into all of that tonight, motivational and transformational. But at the end of it, the person who's the transformational speaker wants to see change. Not that I just got you, motivated, but they are going to make sure, provide you, with those how to change. So yes, I do that domestically and internationally, often in the area of finances, because that's what people know me for, but I also speak on purpose and, things like that. And so, that has just been amazing. My last trip was to Nigeria, where I spoke at the Making Nigeria conference for a week. And that conference, it was amazing, because Nigeria is they are really working on becoming the Mecca for entrepreneurs. And they want Nigeria to be a place that's attractive to foreign entrepreneurs, so that entrepreneurs can come and, set up shop there in Nigeria and do business there. And then, of course, they're encouraging their own people to be entrepreneurs, because, as we know, entrepreneurship is the path to financial freedom and out of oppression. That's just what I believe. They believe it too. So that was fun, and I was there to speak on finances, business finances. But it was great just to see the people there that were part of that were starting up, because of course they had all the vendors and people that they had been working with, that were starting up, and just hearing all of their dreams and goals and all of that stuff, and just to be able to provide some insight and learn from them as well. So it's been great. Ghana is another place that I have been.
I think I saw the pictures for Ghana.
Oh yeah. Yes, Ghana was it was amazing. So I was honored to have been their first first speaker for their first women's international.
Oh wow!
Yes, and so it was truly amazing. And there, the focus really was again helping women understand that entrepreneurship is a path, a viable path, and how to go about that and all of that. So yeah, that was
okay. Okay. So in all that you do, and I know that you have a little woman that we often see on Facebook. Yeah, she's a little pistol.
Yes.
So how are you sharing or passing that torch to your children?
Absolutely. So we have 6 children in all, Robert and I together. And the one you speak of is the youngest. So with my older children, at that time I was still working a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. So my older children still kind of sort of, they're working 9 to 5s, but they do understand that eventually they need to, look at owning their own thing. And my oldest daughter actually is, trying her hand at, a business right now. So they understand that. However, the younger children right now who have had that's all they've known from the time they were born. So that would be the 13-year-old. I was going to say 12. It's 13. You're going to keep them at 12. And the 4-year-old, all they know is entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. The 13-year-old for most of his life, and definitely the 4-year-old, all of her life. That's all they know. And so they are very, I talk to them a lot about entrepreneurship, about what I do, about the ups and downs. They see as much. I like to be transparent. Okay. So as much, as I'm not ashamed of letting them see, when things are down. And that's because I think that, you have to teach in entrepreneurship that there will be ups and downs. There's no ifs, ands,
that will definitely be
about it. There are going to be ups and downs. And so it's important for me that my children see that, but also see how to navigate through that, navigate through the downs, or prepare for the periods that may be down and things of that nature. So my youngest two really do, they probably bleed, entrepreneurship more so than any of the other children.
How are they going to be able to step into entrepreneurship and be able to have it as a sustainable lifestyle?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, don't believe the hype. Okay. Yes, there are large businesses out there that's going to be gobbling up the small businesses, but honestly, it's not just about the large businesses coming and putting small businesses out of business. Sometimes, a lot of times, we as small business owners put ourselves out of business. Okay. Because we don't know how to properly scale, or we don't know how to, manage our cash flow. We don't know how, so there is a lot that we can do. And the truth of the matter is, Michelle, that really this country is built on small business. So the next thing that I would say to your question, and I was just teaching in entrepreneurship, a class of entrepreneurs Tuesday night.
Okay.
And I shared with them, I'm sharing with you all, that the big businesses are not your competition.
Say that again.
The big businesses are not your competition. In fact, there isn't any company that's your competition. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I know we talk about, we're in the same industry, so we have competition. I get that. But at the heart of everything, there is no competition.
So why do you say there is no competition?
Because there's room at the table for everyone.
Okay.
There's more than enough people that need to be served. I don't care what industry you're in, how many people are in an industry or whatever. Can there be saturation in a certain area? Sure. That means you need to find an area where it's not saturated.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no competition, because the truth of the matter is, you as the owner, why you built that business or why you're building that business, who you're serving, why you're serving them, how you serve them, a combination of all of these things, your purpose on this earth and all that, it makes you unique.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you unique. So I was sharing with that class the other night, because we happen to be talking about pricing and stuff like that. And I said, one thing as entrepreneurs, when we're pricing, we tend to go, oh, what's the competition? What are they charging? So and I'll charge maybe a little bit lower, or whatever your thoughts are. And it's like, why do you care what the competition is charging? You are your unique.
This is you.
This is you. You know what I'm saying?
And nobody is going to be able to do what it is that you do. They may be able to mimic, but they can't do what you do.
It may look similar. I'm like, even people with the same spiritual gift mixes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the only spiritually gifted teacher. There's plenty of them out there. But we're all still uniquely different.
Right. We
all will, attract whomever, we attract, just because we are unique. So just understanding that, you're not everybody's cup of tea, nor do you want to be. But understanding who's for you, and you for them. That's what I'm saying. There's plenty of room at the table. So, but think of like a 20-second or a 30-second, commercial. And in that period of time, what are the words that you're choosing to communicate your uniqueness? Okay. Communicate why you should choose me over the other 19 Joes on the block.
Got you. Something about you should speak to something in them, to where they're willing to take their finances to invest in what it is that they want to do through you.
And you've got to be clear on who you're speaking to.
Okay.
But I heard something today, and it went like, taking action reveals options that analysis does not.
That's good. That's powerful.
Taking action reveals options that analysis does not. Let me put it to you like this. You got to step out there on faith, and then God will move people, places, and things.
Yes.
To assist you.
Yeah.
I'm fulfilling your
I'm a believer. I'm a believer.
Yeah.
Because we all have hopes and dreams.
Yes.
And we all have desires. But hopes and dreams will never become reality without action. And that's just simply put.
Action is required.
Yes. So thank you so much for coming on to the show today. It has been truly a pleasure having you again on the show, and being able to bring in the expertise and be able to help other people realize that entrepreneurism and business ownership is available to any and everyone.
Yes.
And so it just means that when you take it on, that your business success or failure is dependent upon you.
That's right.
And so once you do it, step out there. You are the rudder that is going to lead that ship.
That's right.
Thank you for listening in on another episode of Girls Talk Real Talk. Be sure to follow us on all of the approved podcast platforms and to like our Girls Talk YouTube channel. This is Michelle signing off and wishing each of you a prosperous and joyous life. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.